Today's lecture is on software requirements and the domain classes. So the question arises here that why this topic is included in the design and architecture. So let's discuss about it. Relation of software architecture to other development tasks. Remember that using object-oriented analysis model or class diagram, class model, we not only analyze the functional requirements, the attributes and operations, but classes helps to identify the different components and module. Normally one component comprise of either one or two classes, and different components combine together to form a module, or single component can also comprise a module. So classes differentiate actually when we talk about the module. So we define module as a difference in the properties. Each and every module has a unique difference, unique properties from other module. And when we talk about the classes, so class A, each class also different from other class in their respective properties. So one advantage is that using the classes we identify the different map components, and this means we create a plan or a software architecture using the class diagram. The second is that when we go to the detailed design or the concrete designing, so the object oriented analysis or class diagram or classes become the base of the detailed design, coding, integration, etc. Because when we talk about the modules integration, components integration or integration testing, we normally talk about the classes integration, because the modules are integrated with the help of with their respected classes. So domain analysis, in domain analysis we analyze the requirements and derive the different classes. So requirement, desire, qualities, and one more thing that not only the functional requirement but the associated non-functional requirement are also arise here, because software architecture and design achieve the quality attributes. So domain analysis is necessary for software architecture design, and this architecture design on the hardware architecture. So analyzing the hardware architecture and the classes is necessary for the software architecture, and then when the software architecture is finalized, the module are finalized, coupling and cohesion are specified, then low level design started. So this lecture is about the user classes. So the activities of application development, these are the normal activities, common activities. The first is the collection of requirements, both user and system requirements are collected, then create design, both high level and low level design are created, and then implementation starts. So the basic object oriented analysis and design approach is that we select particular classes and we then refine. We start refine. So we refine the relationships, we refine the attributes, the operations, the relation types, etc. And laterally this approach is useful for the reusability. So reusability is a very important property nowadays, because it reduces the cost and development time, and it also increases the effectiveness of the software. So the first approach is the state the main use cases, because the classes, the use case is the base for the classes. So we derive the classes from the same use case which we design in the start. Convert the use case to sequence diagrams, because sequence diagram is nothing but it is the collection of use cases. Sequence diagram combine different use cases, and it shows how different use cases works and interact with each other, and then select the resulted domain classes. And this process continues. So we can refine the main use cases, we can refine the domain classes. So this is a three-level approach. In the first level, we develop use cases with the customer, with negotiation with the customer. The use cases are designed, and then convert the use case to sequence, and then to domain classes. So all these three parts, the use case development, the sequence diagram, and then drawing and deriving and drawing the domain classes, are basically the requirement analysis, belong to the requirement analysis phase. Then architecture is finalized. So these domain classes helps in identify the different modules. If the modules are finalized, so it helps in architecture design. The second thing I will talk about is that based on the domain classes and nature of the product. Remember the nature of the product, we design a specific architecture pattern. In next lecture when we will talk about we will talk more about in detail about the different architecture pattern. So architecture pattern is selected, modularity structure is specified, and then detailed design is started. So detailed design is created, and then implementation start based on the architecture design, and these domain classes helps in the coding. So let's talk about the example, big example as a case study use case for point of sale. This is the point of sale use case. So that is actually the user or operator who is in the counter and control the whole system. So that user manage the customer detail, manage the supplier detail, manage the stock detail, purchase products, sell products, supplier accounts, and then customer accounts. It also deal with the customer account, and these use cases are also extended to these use cases. So this is use cases, and now this is the sequence diagram derived from this sale. First of all, operator enter the product, and then enter the supplier. So operator in this second phase enter the supplier, and supplier ID goes to the purchase. So because before sale we purchase product, so we need the supplier and product information. So supplier information come from here, and product information come from here. So these two are the components of the purchase module. The purchase module consists of these two components. One is purchase main and one is purchase detail. Purchase detail consists of the products detail, while purchase main consists of the supplier info. So these two attributes detail come here, and then after sale the product stock is also updated, because the number of product increases, and and then supplier account is also updated. The debit and credit entries are updated. Similarly, when we want to make sale, so customer entry, first we assure the customer entry, customer ID here, come here, and product detail come from the product, and then after sale the customer account, like the supplier account, is updated, and the supplier when give you money, so the supplier credit comes to the supplier. When you give payment to the supplier, so supplier credit section will be updated, and when customer give you payment customer payment section will be credited like this way. So this is the class diagram now. So we derived these classes from the sequence and use case diagram. This is the purchase, and this is the purchase detail class. So we have two classes, purchase main, purchase detail, and the purchase main and purchase detail classes are in composition. This means there is a strong tight bonding between these two classes. These two classes cannot exist independent, and similarly the sale and the sale detail are also in the composition. Now you see that sale class use the customer. Sale is dependent on the customer, and sale is also dependent on the product. So it is not shown in this diagram, but sale is also sale detail is dependent on the products detail, and salesman is dependent on the customer. So as sale and sale detail are in composition, this means both depend on customer and products. Similarly is the case with the purchase. So purchase main depend on supplier and purchase detail depend on the product. So there is a strong dependency between purchase detail and product detail, and purchase man and supplier, there is a directed association. So there is a difference between these two notation, directed association and dependency. Dependency means that purchase detail cannot be proceed without the product, so it's strongly dependent. So this is the strong dependency relation, and this is the directed association, means supplier and purchase class are in association, but purchase class can be designed without supplier. Association means although purchase class use the supplier information, but purchase class can be designed without the supplier. If supplier ID is not entered, it's still okay, but purchase detail cannot proceed without the products detail. Similarly, supplier accounts depend on the supplier. If there is no supplier, so how his account can be opened? But supplier account is in directed association with the purchase. This means it gets the debit amount and credit amount from the purchase also, but this means the direct association means that supplier accounts and purchase class can exist independently. Similarly is the case of sale and customer accounts. So this means we have derived the classes, and then these classes are mapped to different component, different module. Like one is, there are two major modules. One is the purchasing, another is the selling. So sale module consists of different classes, different components, and purchase module consists of different classes and components. And one another module is a product detail, so it is integrated with both purchase and with the sale. So there definitely exist different cohesion and coupling types. Coupling can be shown here. There is a strong coupling between the sale and product, and similarly there is a strong coupling between the purchase and the product also. So different types of coupling can be applied here, like when we talk about the data coupling. So purchase detail use the data of product, so that is the data coupling, and similarly sale detail also use the products detail, so it is also in the data coupling. And inside each module there is a strong cohesion, because without cohesion, without functional cohesion, one module purpose cannot be achieved. So definitely similarly communicational cohesion exists, logical cohesion exists during the searching. So different types of cohesions are possible, and definitely we have a data coupling also exists here. This is another example of product buyer and provider application. So this is the website where the purpose is to buy the products, and using these apps one can buy the products as well as the services, like the tutor services, mechanic services, etc. So similarly one can sell his expertise, his skill and product also. So this use case include the buyer who buy the services, who buy the product, and who buy the employee. Employee can be labor, mechanic, tutor, etc., teacher. Similarly seller provide the products and the payment detail, and similarly service provider also enter the payment detail along with the services, because service provider provide the services. Similarly buyer buy the service, so for that they book a service, they book a product and book a tutor, and then they all are integrated with the payment. So then these use cases are further included here. And this is the login. So sign up first. First phase the registration, and then login is also included here. So if you sign up, then you can log in also. Now, after converting use case to sequence diagram for service provider is this. So this is the login, this is the registration, this is the login. So enter phone number, then enter phone number is verified. So the message comes here that register yourself. So first option is enter phone number in the login. So if it exists, if the person exists, so it will be login. So if after verification the person does not exist, so message will come that register yourself, request for registration, and then register successfully, then login and select category. Category means labor category, tutor category, mechanic category, or any service provider category. So the person will register himself in a particular category, and he can rate the application, and also he gives his detail, address, etc. And this is a product provider. Similar information is entered by the product, but the difference is that here he can sell product instead of services. And this is services and product buyer sequence diagram, where one request, the customer request first login. If he already have login credential, then he will be login. If not, then he request for registration, he is verified, and then after login he can order for products or can order for the services. So service will be checked if service exists, or product will be verified if there is sufficient amount quantity of amount in the stock. So services and stock will be issued, and then this is the payment. So all the step by step sequence actions are can be seen in a sequence diagram here. And sequence diagram is nothing but it is designed from the use cases, and how different use cases are interacted and communicated is shown. And this is the class diagram designed after the sequence diagram, class diagram of the service and product provider application. After finalizing the sequence diagram, we have drawn it. So this is a user, either employee buyer or service buyer, labor service provider, product buyer, seller, all are belong to the user. So all are the inherited classes from the users. Similarly, labor services belong to the different categories, so it is inherited from labor category, and there is a association among the seller and the product, as because when the seller register itself, so seller also mention about the products. So products are associated with the sellers, and product belong to the particular product category. For example, if the product is shoes, so all the products belong to shoe will be put in the shoe category. Similarly, there is a association in the labor services class and the service buyer. So this is the whole class diagram, and laterally when we finalize the architecture with the help of these classes and particular architecture pattern is selected, then based on that architecture pattern and modularity structure and class diagram, the designer, low level design start designing and implementing the code, low level detailed code. So this was all about the domain classes and the importance. So thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you so much.